Start it over. Abracadabra.
Abracadabra. Some get right. All right. All right, peace, y'all.
Greetings. Divine awareness.
To the gods, the goddesses, and divine beings.
Hola, hola.
This is Art Spirit Magic with the goddess Kaheri, my aunt.
And Empress Ahkarah. That's funny. Or Magi.
Magi Ahkarah.
Yes. The Magi's are with you this day. Yes.
I wonder what we're going to talk about today, huh?
I wonder, huh? Let's see how many of you beings have caught this vibe. Well, as you can see, we are electrified, we are magnified, we are magnetizing a vibrant, warm, emanating glow of enthusiasm, passion, and excitement in our spirit, in our art, our artistic gathering of our, get right here, You see somebody with this on, you're going to get right. Yeah, you're going to get right. So, art, spirit, magic!
Yes. All right, so let's get into it.
Yes.
All right, we talked about art, right? How we are and how we show up as artists in this world. We talked about
how art has weaved through our timeline, through our heart, our soul, and expression. Mm-hmm.
And we talked about spirit, right?
How spirit has weaved through our timeline, our expression. And to me, magic weaves through our timeline, through art, through spirit, and activates through love. We both agreed upon that the other day. And I would say passion and desire.
Yeah, we both agreed that love is our superpower.
Yes.
Yeah. With my person, right? With how I see love has been a form of activation it's how I've been able to make things happen. So I tend to be able to create environments through the emotion or the act of love. So it creates environments. It serves as a bonding, right? A source of bonding in terms of, establishing a rapport and bringing things together. Some concrete examples is how through my love and nurturing energy, I've been able to create relationships and rapport. And we're making it rapport. With my children.
That's magic. Because it is rapport. Or a rapport with each.
Rapport with each. I value the rapport that I've been able to develop with my, when I say children, I'm talking about my biological children. I have lots of children, as a teacher and as somebody who has functioned in the community. But I'm talking about my biological children at the moment. That has opened up the door for them to communicate with me. And so that I can be there at times and moments when they really need, insight and guidance. what I found is instead of ruling with a hard fist, which is actually how I started out as a parent.
The first one
I started out being like,
very, tightrope.
Yeah, it was just like, this is the way it goes and that's it. But my mate was like that. So me being that way and their father being that way, I felt automatically, I was like, okay, this is overbearing. Who is bringing the love and the nurturing and the soft place to land, you know? And so I had to recalibrate, because in my home, my mom was the hard nose.
Yeah, my phrase is, you'll never be the man my mother was.
Right.
Okay. You figured that out.
So I figured I could, this is, I felt like I was crushing the spirit of my child. And I said, no, okay, I have to balance this energy out to harmonize the situation and bring in that love and what I found as a teacher, right?
As an educator.
As an educator, right? So in the New York City public school system, I worked in some really some neighborhoods that could be challenging in terms of the behaviors,
like the neighborhoods we grew up in.
Yeah, right.
So the quality of teacher was always able to handle the actual experiences of the students. And in this case,
true. And what I found out, I was very good at what they consider classroom management. But what the first thing that I led with was rapport and not general. It was general, but genuine. Genuine.
And that's where the telepathy goes in. Just keep on rolling. We know what you mean.
Genuine interest and concern for the well-being of my students.
Passion. And
I genuinely wanted to connect with them. I genuinely wanted to know how they were doing that day. And I genuinely cared for them and their well-being. And that heartfelt energy is what I see led them to actually want to be a part of this experience, to so-called perform for me, or to, and it wasn't for, and it's not, here's the thing, education is not performing for the teacher, but they felt like it was a safe place and that I actually had their best interests at heart. And I'll pause right there. And that to me was, I'm just highlighting and just kind of actually synthesizing this information as I'm sharing with you, because I didn't come prepared to share this. This is just what's coming to me. How love can be a superpower, and how power doesn't have to be coming in by force. You know what I'm saying?
I would say from all the aspects that you just mentioned, which you highlighted and expanded on what we said magic is. Activated by love, you demonstrated the passion for the commitment and the desire to see the lives that you were touching transform. The superpower comes in with love comes observation, right? So weaving through all that you said is you rise up, rise above, go within, and you can see. We can see. When we love, we can track, we can map, we follow, We track, we hunt the solutions for the pathway for those in our lives, right? And so with that oversight that love has, that step back and let's look at the best way to focus our energy, our passion, our commitment to those we love. And on that path, we make magic by the advice, by the presence, by the suggestions, by the environment itself, being supportive, being inspiring, being colorful, being nurturing, all of these things with word, with deed, with environment. So to me, that is like what we're saying is that's what magic is, right? The force is love, and love is not a forceful force, right? It is a presence. It is it's a place. It's an atmosphere. It's a created environment that is fostered by whatever is needed in everyone's life, period. So it's always wholeness. And that's, to me, what magic is being able to see the wholeness of the eight, right? What's over here and what's over here. And how to get what's over here and what's over here together without force, without that type of direct manipulation. So love does that. Passion moves vibration and desire. And so with those authentic, genuine places within self, that is what begins to fuel the spark, the idea, the right on time solution, the absolute synchronicity of how things actually met at those junctions, wherever they do, wherever the gap is, that's where magic bridges it, right? Because we have that oversight of love and that knowing that this nest is going to make it through to the season and those birds are going to fly, because that is what magic is. When you put a seed in the ground and you nurture it and it germinates and it stems and begins to bloom and then blossom, that's going from a complete cycle. That's wholeness, right? Going from to the other, all the way a complete cycle. And that is what a little bit of magic every day is each journey you take, each, and I do mean trip on the road, each project engaged, each conversation indulged in or involved in, each activity. We're bridging those gaps so that we are carrying our ancient destinies, our incarnation purpose to full completion throughout the cycle of one's life. And that's being magical beings. All right, good night.
Yeah, well, I like how you addressed, your definition of magic. And I mean, and I'm totally in agreement with everything you said. I also have a very simple
and not but.
And did I say but?
No.
Oh, okay. Yes, and I have a very simple definition of magic is that magic is the science of mystery, right?
Right
of
in
the
front
unknown.
of you. Yes.
Magic is the science of the unknown. It's a science that of what's unseen, but it's a science that you can tap into once you understand the science and you understand the laws and the mechanics of the world, the physical, mental, and spiritual world, right? Because it's magic on different levels, but it's simply
science. And science is
that people
observable.
That's exactly you. It's the unseen, right? Because you may not be aware, right, to the observer of how it happened.
Well, the observer does know. The non-observer is oblivious. One who observes knows.
Okay, with the no, yeah, I see where you went
because
with that
science
with the observer. So the conscientious. observer
of science.
So, of science, yes, yeah.
You can see it.
I got you.
Yeah, because science involves evidence and proof. And that is what magic is. Not a mystery. It's the mystery of magic. But magic itself is not a mystery because it's a science.
It's only mystery to those who don't know the science.
Who don't observe. Because if you observe, you know the science. You can't observe and not know. That is what observing is, knowing. Either the chicken or the egg comes first. You observe and then you know, or you know to observe, right? So that is the mystery of science and magic. So getting from one point in the 8 to the other point in the 8 is a scientific. You can conjure, you can divine, you can make illusions, you can use elements. All of these are magical tools, magical methods that actually are laws and rules, right? Science itself is magic if you know the laws and rules. So rhythm, polarity, all of these are magical to maybe the non-observer, but they're science to the knower and the observer, right? So we're playing with magic. That magic is magic, but as I speak, I create. That is magic.
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra. So that's the illusion. It's right in front of you. So science is magic in the public, right? And all other magic is in your thought, in your breathing, in your intentions, in your emotions, in your feelings. And then, something comes out. And that's art, spirit, magic.
Let me ask you, can you recall a time when you first, or a time where that's most pronounced, when you were like, oh, I'm just fucking magical?
Every day of my life, hey, every butt whooping I got out of, hey.
Every butt whooping.
Every, and then a gift, hey. Every trauma that I turned into wings to fly, as super fuel to always go into and glean or resource another lesson or re-up of that energy boost to let me know how powerful I am, right? So memories are magical because within a memory you observe. And once you start observing, you can then be spoken to. And a picture is worth 1,000 words. And a memory can be a picture, right? A whole scene, a whole setting, and then you can see the whole thing. So to me, I would say, really being able to know your will and have a desire at a young age and actualize it. That means modify your behavior, follow conditions, match up to standards, grow, and become. To me, that was magical when I could be what I wanted to be by seeing, whether it was a model in the public eye or whether it was a speaker, Shirley Chisholm, Martin Luther King, all of these people who transform others with their words. And I knew that I could do anything to get anyone to laugh.
Again, that's a part of your magic.
It was since I was 4 years old. I always got out of a whooping, right? And I would entertain my sister's friends. Yes. That would be my entry and my passport to hang with the older kids. As long as I'm not being a child, but I'm being an actual focus of something joyful. At 4, 5, 6, and 7, I knew that.
And I already know, but what would you say would be the element in which you work most of your magic through?
Sound, which travels through airways.
Yes. And laughter.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
Laughter is
so much
gaseous. Laughter is air. Laughter is a release of hormones, right? So it actually is a scientific, magical, which is a physical science process. And it really, you can laugh. Wait. You can do that. Laughter is an exercise. Woo! Don't try to control laughter. Laughter said, woo, I'm going to punch you right back. You're not going to bottle up all that energy and not change your physical speed and rate of pumping. Now your adrenaline, now your lymphatic system, and then all of your other engagements. If there was an emotional aspect to this laughter, our heart rate would be going, we would hardly be able to breathe because we would be emotionally transfixed with the laughter. But we were just physically doing it. And it still had a chemical change in your spirit energy.
You know, we use that science in our birthing program. So utilizing laughter and just even simply smiling.
Yes.
And which is a good transition for how I first knew that I was magical was in the birthing of my 5 children.
That's magical.
And what was the magical part was in the preparation, right, in the meditations that led up to, I utilized mind magic, right, deprogramming and reprogramming the brain on how I chose to perceive the sensations of birth, to transmute pain into pleasure. Or to transmute pain into...
That's that pimp in you always
or to transmute pain or into joy.
Into pleasure.
So like my first birth was, at first it was a controlled birth until I hit a wall where I was like, okay, what I'm doing now is not working. I got to do something else to keep going. And I said something to my birthing coach at the time. I was like, I don't know. I think I might need some pain relief at this point because my births, I did them without pain medication. And she was like,
you're a doula. I mean, and you were on that track, so you would have been on the most extreme track.
Yeah, my birthing coach was like, Kaheri, you're doing so well. You don't need to like, girl. And she said, and then when she said that, I was like, okay, well, if I'm not gonna do pain relief at this moment, I need to do something else. And I said, okay, you know what? I adopted, fuck it. I'm gonna let whatever sound wants to come out of my mouth come out. I'm gonna let whatever movement wants to move through my body move. And I just...
Undulation?
Yes, and I just move and sounded off, and he just popped out after that.
Sound, birth, popped off. Okay, yes, formed and
and then with the second birth, when in my preparation, I was in my meditation. And I didn't even have this conversation with my birthing coach at the time, but I asked myself in meditation, okay, I know how intense the sensation is in birth. What is as intense or can be as intense but pleasurable? And you know what the answer was?
An orgasm.
Orgasm! Yes! And so what I did
see me already got in mood. I was like, let me just get ready. But I know she's about to say some shit.
So I replaced the programming of pain with pleasure. So in my meditations, I practiced, and I had orgasms as sensations. I practiced perceiving the sensations as orgasms. And my second birth was an orgasmic birth. Before I even heard of the concept of orgasmic birth, I had never even heard of someone doing birth orgasmically.
Now you offer it as a course.
Yes.
Because it is a service.
Yes.
To the 70% of women that have been, disconnected from pleasure centers.
And that
in the mundane activity.
At that point, I was like, that's some magical shit now. Okay, you can have orgasmic birth, then yeah, that's magic. And then after the second birth, I didn't have to have an orgasmic birth after that. After that one was my next child, he was a joyful birth.
Oh wow.
Well, he was a peaceful birth. He was peaceful.
Okay.
The next one, the home birth, he was a water birth. He was a joyful birth.
Oh,
wow. I enjoyed that birth. And the last one, amen. He was a magical birth.
Oh wow.
Okay, let me tell you why this one was just yeah, Amen Ra. Amen Ra came on the hottest day of the summer. It was 101 degrees in New York City.
Damn.
Okay? And the doctor was checking me. I didn't qualify for a home birth this time. My midwife disqualified me.
Okay.
So I was doing it in the hospital, and the doctor was checking me. And while he was checking me, I was in communion with my son. So I actually saw him. I saw
his immaterial self.
Yes, his immaterial self. I saw the vision of him. Mm-hmm. He presented himself to me.
Okay.
And he was flailing a sword in the air like this. And I was like,
get ready. Yeah. Okay.
What? That's how you want to come into this world?
He was like, look, I'm pulling up the rear, and this is what we got.
I was like, okay.
On the last one.
So I submitted. I said, okay, that's how you choose to come in the world. And I said, okay. And so the doctor, while he was checking me, he kind of jumped a bit. And I'm like, what's going on? And so he said, well, I know you wanted to have a vaginal birth or all natural vaginal birth. However, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to do this. I said, why? He said, because your son is breech. I'm like, well, what's going on? He said...
He came in standing up. He's like, what?
He said, the baby... Well, he didn't say son. He said, the baby's breech. Do you know that my son grabbed the doctor's finger?
Stop playing.
While the doctor was checking me?
Stop playing.
He grabbed his finger. So his whole arm was in the vaginal cavity.
Wow.
So that's how breech he was. And that's what led to me having a C-section for my last birth.
He came in standing up. Okay? He was like, look, I ain't bowing down to nobody. My name is what? The light. And I'm what? Coming through. Okay?
He said, you gonna cut me out.
Okay, laser in, laser out. On and off. I ain't laughing, but I mean, the energy in which the signature was so communicative with you and clear, that had to have had
he
a
came
peace.
With fire. He was on the hottest day.
But it had to have given you a peace that you knew what was happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That this fire was about to happen. It was already like all
with
angles was happening. The weather, the climate, the vision. It was primed.
Tropical astrology, he's a Leo. It's just like all these significators, right? The sun came in as the sun, right?
Look, I'm a Leo.
So many levels.
You want to know how to shine? Look at this birth. Came walking out. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. So
my birth experiences, they solidified that magic exists.
Mm-hmm. That's a full cycle, because like a woman like me, I came in wanting to have 7 children. Only someone who has none is going to say 7, right? Maybe someone with 1 might say, oh yeah, 3, 4, or 5. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what would and when did you know or plan 5 children?
I always knew I was gonna have. Well, I had. My mom had 4 of us. It's 4 girls.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was normal for me.
So it was right in there with
and
the
5
size.
children. I figured I would have 5 children. Somebody to this day keeps saying that I said I was going to have 6 children. I don't ever remember saying I was going to have 6 children.
Well, you know, if that's a memory, then you would know it better than someone else.
Yeah,
because I know
but
I
5,
said
yes,
7.
5,
Okay.
and 5 is my number.
Right. See. Mm-hmm.
So, and once
any
I had
derivative of 9 be mine. So.
And once I had 5, I knew. And you do notice his name, right? The last one, Amen. There's a joke going on in my family.
Okay.
That they knew when I named my son Amen
that
he was going to be the last. They were like, oh, she had him and was like, Amen. I ended that.
Portal
closed. Oh, Uriel's supposed to have one more. Oh, okay.
Well, there are all sorts of creations going on these days, you know. So, and Sarah babies are definitely factual. You know, we are able to carry, you know, procreate. We're not even going to talk about, you know, for 900 years. I mean, there's no limitations. The veil has broken. Molecularly, structurally, we are magical, and we are forever and constantly changing. So all DNA can be actually, you know, determined. So, you know, if you want to have another child, you can.
He said suppose. So he got the intel. Actually, in one of the rituals, it was told to me that I was going to have 5 children, but that was something that was in my spirit beforehand. But it was, you know, a priest revealed that to me that I was going to have 5.
Right. It's always.
And at the time, I was pregnant and didn't even know it. Oh, that was another magical event because when the priest told me that I was going to have 5 children, that's when I was pregnant with my daughter. And because she's spoke
in the middle,
to me,
right?
No, she's the second one. I had only had one child at that time.
Mm-hmm.
She spoke to me, and I'm recalling what she said to me. But what I do remember is when I went to the doctor, and they had tried to tell me that I had lost the baby, right? Because at first they said, because I was tested positive, right? My pregnancy test was positive, and then they said that my pregnancy test was negative, and they were trying to console me and saying I lost the baby. I was like, no, it's like it can't be because the message was that the baby is strong.